learn a mind-boggling sikha about the Rabbi gives us what is Elul all about? What is the opportunity that we have in Elul? Some serious good stuff.
This is okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, man.
Clear?
Tell us what page.
Yeah. Okay. The sikha we're going to be learning is on page 623.
Very good stuff.
Yiddish or Hebrew?
Yiddish.
But you will have translation, don't worry.
Okay. Very good, very good.
Look, somebody cut out that.
Hey, let me see it.
Okay, not from this part.
Hey.
They actually cut out.
I wonder what they didn't like. Maybe it was a mistake.
A mistake.
I hope it was a mistake.
No, somebody cut it out.
No. Feel bad for it.
A mistake.
623. There's a there's one sikha that's a small one at the beginning. It's the first one, and then we're going to start with the second one, which is a little bit longer, and that's going to blow our minds away, I believe. I learned this many years ago, and I still remember it every year. So, anyway, so before we begin, I'm going to give you a Hagdama, introductory into what we're going to learn. So, Elul, the word Elul is made up of Aleph, Lamed, Vav, Lamed. I'm sure you know the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch brings down other Svarim, Piskar Rizal, how Elul is Rashi Tevis. The letters of Elul make up different acronyms. One of the most famous one is Ani L'Doidi, L'Doidi Li. I am to my beloved, and my beloved is to me. Which Aleph, Ani L'Doidi, L'Doidi Li. Right? There are other ones, which one of those we're going to focus on today, and that is the words are Ina L'Yodei V'Samti L'Cha. Which let's find out what that means. Where does it come from? What is it all about? So the pasuk says in Parashas Mishpatim as follows: Make ish v'meis meis yumos. This is just an introduction before we go inside. A person that strikes another man and puts him to death, he will be put to death. Then the pasuk continues another pasuk. But what happens? Vashaloi sodo. If a person doesn't have intention to kill anybody, he didn't ambush him, he didn't try to kill him, but v'alikim ina liyodei, God orchestrated it that he should be the one to kill somebody. Says the pasuk, "V'samti l'chamokim." So basically, it was a shoygig. It wasn't on purpose. It was a mistake. Mistakenly killed somebody. For instance, a person is going up a ladder, or he's going down a ladder, and one of the rungs of the ladder break, and he falls down on the guy holding the ladder, and the guy dies.
It was an accident.
It was an accident. So, I mean, obviously, the Gemara talks about it going up, you're going down. There's different situations, but to keep it simple, you would be considered a person that killed by mistake. And the law is that you have to run away to a place called Ori Mikla, a city of Mikla, a city of refuge.
Was the relative obligated to kill him? Was he obligated?
He's not obligated. He's allowed to. And if he does, he would not be.
He was allowed to, but he didn't have to if he didn't want to.
No, there's no mitzvah. I don't think. Usually, a person does something wrong. He goes to Beis Din, and he has a court case, etc., etc. We're going to see soon. But he is allowed. Yeah, I don't think there's any mitzvah. No.
It's justifiable homicide.
Meaning we understand his situation, and therefore we don't. Anyway, but let's yeah. So anyway, so what happens? So if a person kills by mistake, v'samti l'chamokim, I will give you a place, asher yonu shoma, which you should run there and find refuge. So we just said what are in the pasuk? It says v'holikim ino liyodei. It orchestrated the Hashem orchestrated that it should go into his hand. V'samti l'cha, says the pasuk, and I will give you a refuge. So those words make up ani l'doidi v'doidi li. If you look inside the sikha, you'll see he brings it in the second paragraph on page 623 in the from Siv base. So in the beginning of Gimel, you see it says base and then Gimel. It says ina liyodei v'samti l'cha. Hashem orchestrated it, and I'm giving you a place of refuge. So these words, the word Elul makes up that Hashem made it happen, which is the idea that it was b'mezid, that it wasn't on, it was b'shoigeg, that it wasn't on purpose, and that I'm going to give you refuge. So the Rebbe is going to address this, and is going to explain to us in a beautiful way that the Rebbe explains how Elul is a time of refuge, a time where a person can find refuge from the whole year, from his negative aspects which Chas v'Shalom a person might have. But let's be realistic, we all have, or at least I can tell you for myself, we all have our ups and downs, and therefore Elul is a time, we're leading up to Rosh Hashanah's preparation for Rosh Hashanah, it's time to get ourselves together and try and improve. So Elul is the words, Ina liyodei, I was the one that orchestrated his negative things, I was the one that made him kill this person, and therefore I'm giving him a place of refuge. Now the words over here are so strong, you'll see that this was something that was very important to the Rebbe, which obviously is important to us.
Which paragraph are you on now?
Starting from the beginning, Siv base.
From the beginning.
Siv base, you see there's like a sort of like a separation with a little letters. So that's the first word, Sicha. It's all under the same, it's all Elul, a bunch of Elul Sichas. So they all go under the same category.
This statement doesn't really reflect what a person does. Hashem is not causing this person to do a mistake. The individual in their daily life, right? He's making choices. Over here, you're talking about Hashem creating a situation where.
Well, we're going to discuss. Yeah, there's a good point you're making, but at the same time, the Rebbe's going to explain that even when a Jew, does something b'shoigeg, does a mistake, makes a very bad mistake, that's also a problem. A Jew should not have even mistakes. We're going to explain that very soon. So Rebbe says it's like a person doesn't by mistake jump in a fire. It doesn't happen, right? So a Jew naturally should not be jumping into fires, which in our case is doing averos. How can a Jew come to doing an averos? It's not possible. So Rebbe is going to explain how that happens, and therefore it is applicable even when somebody, let's say the Eibusher sets up the situation, but the fact that he went to that situation is the fact that he was able to have a connection to such a situation, that's a problem. And we're going to explain that, okay? So, says the Rebbe inside. Ich will sagen a paar Wörter, I want to say a few words, und bet, as jeder eine soll das befarsam sein, wie nur erkennen. And everybody should spread out this page 623.
I got it.
Yeah, and everybody should be mefarsamness and spread this, what we're going to discuss today, as much as they can. Noch Shabbos soll man das befahren sein und durch die Union was Shabbos kann man nicht tun. You should do it on Shabbos whatever way you can, and after Shabbos spread it around in ways that you can't spread it on Shabbos. Sagen b'shmi or nicht b'shmi, the Rebbe says over here, say it in my name or not in my name. The point is to get the word out. What we're going to discuss. So what is this? Sif Gimel. If Elul steht, as es Rashi Tevis von die Werte Ono liyodi v'samti lecha. Like we discussed before, the Rashi Tevis of Elul is that a person has done something by mistake, and I am going to give him a refuge. Ina liyodi, Elul is Rashi Tevis, Ina liyodi v'samti lecha. In the parsha, the Torah, we're going to mention was hat der Harige das Zweite nicht willende gehet. Over here in the Torah, we're talking about where a person killed somebody by mistake. Und die Torah Chaim sagt, dass man wird bestimmen an Ort, or in Mikkel, wo soll sich anleben. So Torah says we should make it for him a place where he can run away to. Und yarum wird nicht mehr haben, like this, you won't have to be worried, as der Goyel Hadam, that the Goyel Hadam, the redeemer of the blood that was spilled, will not be able to get him, because once Api Halacha, once this person that killed by mistake, he's got inside the city, the relative, as you mentioned before, is not allowed to kill him anymore. If he does kill him, then he's in big trouble. Only if he's out of the city, then he'll be able to kill him. Der was wird wollen kommen haben von die vergossene Blut soll ihm der Hagen wie es retter Rekord bekommen sein. Die Rosh Teve seine nicht für die Gewerte impossible was red wegen dem was hat abgetan. So the Rebbe says points out a very interesting thing. As we discussed before, the beginning of the pasuk says how he did something by mistake, he killed by mistake. So the words Rashi Tevis of Elul don't belong to that pasuk where it talks about the negative what he did. What are the words that is part of what Elul is? It's Ina Liyode, which is trying to find a merit for this person. The words Elul are made up of is already part of the merit. That you did it because the Eibusher orchestrated something to happen. Right? Mm-hmm. And then the next part is how I'm going to find you a place of refuge. But it doesn't really, the words that Elul make up are not part of the negative sort of aspect which the pasuk talks about, which that is how he killed somebody. Right? Clear? Yeah? I mean, there's two parts of the pasuk. The pasuk which talks about the negative which he did, and then there's part of the pasuk which is explaining the merit, meaning the fact that he did it by mistake, and that I'm going to give you a place of refuge. So, the Eibishter could have worked out the Torah, he could have written however he wanted, and the Elul would have been part of the part where it talks about the negative, or it talks about the part, whatever the Eibishter wanted. But at the end of the day, what do we see? The Elul is made up of the words where it talks about the merit, how the person is, how we're trying to show that this person is alright, how he's okay. It talks about his chus, the merit, and how to fix up that mistake which he made. He did it because I orchestrated it, the Eibush orchestrated it, and that you have a place to go and fix your problem by going to the Ori Mikla. Ori Mikla seinen Gewinn, Umetum, wo es seinen Gewinn Jeden, sei bei den Jeden, seinen Gewinn in Midbar, und seinen Eretz Yisrael, seinen Eretz was das ist, Gewinn chutz der Eretz Yisrael. So the Rebbe says a very interesting point, and that is that this idea of Ori Mikla, which we're going to learn now how it is applicable in our day-to-day life, right? Ori Mikla is something which we don't have anymore in the most physical way. But back in the day they had it, right? And the Rebbe says they had it everywhere. The union of Ari Miklot, the person out of refuge, was everywhere. When they were in the Midbar, when they were in Eretz Yisrael, there was always this place where a person could find refuge. And that's what the Rebbe is going to say. Now today also we have a place where we find refuge. What is that? That is Chodesh Elul.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Page 623.
No, it's not there. No, it's good.
He wants to be next to me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Das is was, yes, so Sif Dalet, page 623 on the left side. Das is was Ori Miklot tu enoi. Matzel sein dem Guf for dem Heilig Nefesh Bishkoga. So the Rebbe says, what? So what are we saying over here? What is the novelty of the Ori Miklot? It saves the person that did a mistake from getting killed by the relative of the person that he by mistake killed.
But the mistake was by Hashem regardless.
But he still did a mistake, right? He still killed somebody. That was a terrible thing that happened over here.
I know, but
Killing someone
who made him kill Hashem?
It was an accident.
So well, it's an accident, but it wasn't an accident because if he kills someone, you mean Hashem.
But it could have come through anybody.
Well, that's good, but if it's your relative.
That's the Rashi.
You can't tell the judge, God did. You can't tell the judge.
Yeah,
You have to go within the...
As I said before, we're going to explain how the fact that this person came to such a mistake is because of a negative, something was wrong by him.
Right, he did something wrong.
Yeah, but how did a tzaddik doesn't do these kind of mistakes? Okay, we're going to see. The Rebbe talks about all your questions. The Rebbe talks about you and the Rebbe. One thing. What's the big comment? What's the other mit that tikkun on the neshama? So the Rebbe asks a question. So the person physically is going to be saved because the goyal hadam can't kill him anymore. He's not allowed to. But what about the neshama? What about the mistake that he killed somebody? It's the most terrible sin, whether mistake or not mistake. The person lost his life thanks to you. So the Rebbe says, he did the most terrible avera. You take taki, it's true he did a b'shegig. When a person does something about b'shegig, right? Does he have to have? Is there a korban that he has to bring? Yes, korban chatos.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, he did it by b'shegig. Has to bring it. Sorry. The mezid, yeah, mezid actually you don't have to bring a korban. It's a very good point. Mezid you don't have to bring a korban. There's other problem. Yeah. But dafka when you have to do b'shegig, is that you have to have a kapara. And you have to have a kapara. It actually says in Mefarshim that like Alderchi said that the korban, the kapara, the how do you say it, the atonement, which one has to do when they do a mistake, is actually sometimes more expensive and bigger than what you did when you did it on purpose. And they explain why. Because when somebody does something with shogeg, they tell themselves, it's not so bad. I didn't do it on purpose. No, the person has to realize, like we're going to say in a moment, when a person does something b'shogeg by mistake, it's because he has opened himself up to be open to these kind of problems. He's got too close to the fire and therefore he fell in.
Have you ever found out the reason why you can't bring a korban for amazing?
I think because you get a bigger punishment, no?
Yeah, it's
Not acceptable.
It's not exactly, yeah.
But isn't there a way they were released from
It's
the
called the-
city of refuge?
Sorry?
called,
These people, weren't there a way that they were released from the
Mar
city
has a
of
phrase for
refuge.
that if you
Come
That
limit the rabbi.
there was a time
Yeah,
with the
it's-
king,
what is it?
something with the
what is
king.
it? Got it.
With the Kohen Gadol.
Yeah.
With the Kohen Gadol would pass away.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Then he
That
would
would
direct.
make nice
Well,
with
doesn't
Rabbi.
mean-
That would apply to like money.
But that's by a
as
shake.
opposed to Misa.
Yeah. But that's if he did a b'shegi, he has to stay there till the Kohen Gadol passes away. Yeah, it's a whole thing. If the Kohen Gadol dies in between, what's going to happen?
Yeah. There's something that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember about.
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
That's when the mother.
So they were released from the city of refuge.
Eventually, yeah.
Some of these
Could take a long time.
But they didn't have to stay for life.
No.
That's why the mother davened for the Kohen Gadol to die. So they-
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like his Rabbi very much.
Sorry?
That's like his Rabbi very much.
special situations
Okay.
here.
He's teaching.
So the Rebbe talks now, right? Our question that we all have, and that is, why does a shogeg get a punishment? So why does the shogeg get a punishment? Says the Rebbe, the time of the means be'emes v'kum t'sayid tonan avei b'shogeg. How is it possible that a Jew should do something b'shogeg? Nicht nur die Neshama, nur viel der Guf von Aiden darf davon antläufen beside sein Tvias. For sure the Neshama can't do an Aveira, right? The Neshama is one thing with the Eibishter, constantly has that relationship, feels it strongly at every moment of the day. So obviously he's not going to do an Aveira. But even the Guf says it, even the physical body of a Jew is a special Guf, a special body. He should also feel that he's coming close to something wrong and run away. Punkt wie es ist nicht scheich zu sagen, als sollte Shake springen auf fire. Even just like it's impossible to say that a person by mistake jumps into a fire, falls into a fire maybe, but to jump into a fire by mistake does not happen. Well, that's the guy who's got something wrong. To jump into a fire doesn't happen. So how is it possible that a yid comes to sort of jump into the fire by mistake? Doing an avera is jumping into fire. It's killing yourself in a way. Spiritual death. So how does a person do it? And we're going to see in a moment. So der fire is daf taka layunu l'tzadik kolov, and he brings a pasuk which says how a tzaddik taka doesn't have any averas, even b'shoigig. Why doesn't a tzaddik do b'shoigig? Not his fault. It's because he doesn't have any connection to these kind of things.
We see Abraham Avinu that threw him to Ur Kasdim, and nothing happened to him. So
Right.
he's a tzaddik.
Yeah, exactly. Nor was then, while the nefesh habahamish minega is by im beskavus. As we all know in Tanya, the Chassidus explains that we all have what's called the nefesh of the kiss, our godly soul, and our nefesh habahamis, our animalistic soul. And the question is, who's in charge in our body, in our life? So a person that lets his nefesh habahamis, his animalistic soul, take him over. The behemoth was im beskavus sein adam. So the behemoth takes over the person. So it covers over and hides the feel and the understanding of the nefesh of the kiss. So basically the person becomes a sort of a utensil, a kli for what the behemoth wants, what the animalistic soul wants, and therefore a person has a shaykhis chas v'shalom to doing different kinds of things and not being able to. He loses his sensitivity that his guf as a Jew should have.
Can you control the animal soul?
Of course, that's our whole life. That's our whole,
I mean, we can prevent these things from happening.
that's if you learn Tanya.
Come Thursday night 9 to 10. We got in Tanya next door.
There are ways.
And you will learn that.
Thursday night is Tanya, thought it was Gemara.
No, here is
next
Gemara.
door.
The show is
Overlapping
Gemara
share,
next
it's a whole
to us.
mess.
It's
Next
a real
door is
Malkum
Tanya.
Torah.
Baruch Hashem.
It's amazing. I'm just taking over for a week because somebody went away, but I think I'm going to try to come home. Maybe I'll come to myself. Anyway. So that's what the Rebbe is saying over here. That since a person, like that, if you look in number 9 on the bottom, it explains how that a person through life, as he goes through his life, eating and drinking, this is, as the more indulgence that we let ourselves have in our lives, it makes stronger and stronger the nefesh habahamis. It makes it harder and harder to overcome it and not let it, pull us whatever way it wants.
Something about eating food?
Everything.
Yeah, well, food is a very good.
Did you mention food?
Yeah. Well, that's the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya how through eating and drinking a lot. I mean, in those days maybe that's all they had. These days there's a lot of other.
I mean, excess.
Yeah, doing things for the sake of animalistic reasons, not for the sake of Hashem. So the more we do this, the more strength and we make the nefesh habahamis into more of an opinion in our lives. The more we do it. If we have a nice car and a nice house, and this is what we're all about.
Eating and drinking, you're saying blessing before and after. You're saying that the effect of eating and drinking is still to
Depends what your kavanah is. What is your mind? What do you think?
My
You mean?
kavanah, I'm eating now to have koch to learn Torah.
If you have that, you have no problem.
Then that's exactly what Hashem wants. That is what Hashem wants. Hashem wants us to eat. Hashem created us to eat. But why are we eating? Are we eating because He said, or are we eating because I like what I'm eating?
So in a story in the Talmud, the student of Rabbi asked him a question. He said, it's a good question, and I don't have the answer now. Let me go home, eat a piece of meat, and come back, I'll give you an answer.
Yeah. Over there in Tanya, over here, the Tanya.
Who was it, Rabbi?
Rab and the Gemara.
It says good wine, good meat. It helps you learn.
Like when you smack tabak,
Start eating now.
That's- So a person that's not able on that level to eat, Chassidim, in Chabad history, and today also you have some people left that are so, their whole lives are so about Hashem and service of Hashem. And every time they sit and eat, if they can't do it for the sake of Hashem, they won't eat. It's something called the skafia. You hold yourself back.
Or they fast. There's fasting.
So today we don't do these things. Rebbe discourage all these kind of things. Today we don't fast and we don't do sigufim. We don't cause ourselves pain or anything like that. Is that we will serve Hashem only with joy. That's how the Rebbe taught us, and that's the way it should be. So, but at the same time, you should eat and drink, but it should try as much as you can that it should be for the sake of Hashem.
if somebody is not full, that means doesn't do the job.
Sorry?
So today, if somebody is not full, that means doesn't do the job.
There's full and then there's overfull.
With a reason. Everything is with a reason.
As soon as you have one more spoon than you need, that's already enough for Hashem. It's for yourself. It's a very hard avodah, but that's the truth. So we have to work on this. Anyway, so the more we let ourselves get away and let our nefesh bahamis take us over, we do more things for His sake than chas v'shalom, not for the Eibusher's sake. He gets stronger and stronger and more an opinion sayer in our lives, and that leads. Like let's continue. Und sagen der Pfarrer, was hat zugelassen, das gab es nicht Bahamis. Und Apirei noch zugeholfen dazu. Durch ein Hoges Leitevitz kommt in ein Einisch und darf haben Akapor. So since I let myself get away, and let myself be indulged, and let my nefesh bahamis take and have a good time and push me into all different directions, so therefore that brings eventually to chas v'shalom. It can happen that I could do a serious aveda, a real aveda, by mistake. And being that I was the one that started off the process, I let him get comfortable in my body and in my mind and my heart. So therefore I need to have an atonement for that, letting the whole process start. Because if I was strong in the beginning, it wouldn't have happened. Nothing would happen even by mistake.
It's the same fight like Yetzer Hara and Yetzer Hato.
Yeah, that's exactly
Nefesh
what it is.
Elokit and Nefesh Bahamis.
Yeah, it's the same idea. Yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah, I mean the Yetzer Hara and Nefesh Bahamis is not the same.
No,
That's
the
the whole.
same idea. It's not the same, but it's the same
Right.
One
idea.
is
Nefesh
good and
Bahamis.
bad. Good and bad. It's good and
No,
bad.
so
he
no.
said.
So the thing is, I don't want to get sidetracked. This is a whole subject for itself,
Yeah.
and we have quite still a bit more to go. But just very, 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 very simply, the Yetzer Hara, the Nefesh Bahamis, which we call the animalistic soul, is not bad. A cow grazing in the field is not bad. He's a cow. He's not bad. His instincts is all about himself. He likes to eat and
Yeah,
sleep.
but you're saying if you're letting the animal soul take over, then the person can wind up in the city of refuge.
Right.
So
He
that's
needs to go to
not
the
the good. That's not good.
Okay,
That's evil.
but I'm saying
The result is evil.
The result could be evil, yes, or
Right.
most probably will be. But essentially,
You mean the
the
source,
animal soul
the
is not
source.
bad.
The
The animal
source.
soul is all about me. So our job is very, very, very simply, and Tanya, this is what Tanya explains. Our job is to take our animalistic soul and tell them what's really good in life.
Kochi ve'etzem yadi.
Sorry.
Kochi ve'otzem yadi.
Yes.
But it's only me. You're saying only me, right?
Okay, that's
Somebody said I did everything. It's not Hashem.
okay. That's a different point. That's not exactly what I'm saying. Is that it's all about what the Nefesh Bahamis is all about enjoying life. So our job is to teach him what's the real enjoyment of life. What's the real enjoyment of life? You tell me. The real enjoyment of life,
Direct,
piece of the cake,
direct.
or sharing the Sichos.
Or the Torah.
Right. So that's our job. When we say Shema every day and we think about Hashem, it's so great. The point is that it should bring Va'afta, that it should bring to loving of Hashem, and make our Nefesh Bahamis realize, oh, you know what? You know what's really good in life? The Eibishter. Like we discussed, I don't know if he was here yesterday. I
Isn't
was
the
here.
holy soul connected to the animal soul? They connect. They can't be separate.
In a way, the animal soul is greater.
But they're connected. I mean,
they are supposed to, the holy soul, the how do you say, the godly soul
Godly
is supposed
soul.
to mashpia and affect the animal soul. It's not to push him away. It's a horror we push away. It's a horror is negative. He's trying to make us do bad. Nefesh Bahamis is not bad.
the
He's
Yitzhak
just
is
about
a separate
himself.
entity. It's a separate entity
It's totally
than
different.
the animal
Yeah.
soul.
Yeah. It's a horror is an evil inclination.
Right.
An animal soul is just about himself. If you can convince your animal soul, which basically is our consciousness, what we think about ourselves. That's basically the animal soul. Most people, our consciousness at tzaddik thinks about Hashem. His nefesh l'kis is the one that is ruling in his body.
So that includes Gaiva. Gaiva could be the animal soul too.
Right, so
Yeah.
just a question. So the Yetzer Hara is trying to push the,
Yitzhak is bad.
in the direction of the Nefesh Behema, no? Or is it pushing
Sort
in the
of.
direction?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay, so...
Yeah, but,
So they do have
the
a
point is that the nefesh Bahamis is not intrinsically bad. He's just about himself, and if you could convince him that what's good in life is not pizza, but the good in life is the Eibishter and Torah mitzvahs, he'll be very happy to go along with it. And because he's a behema, yeah, just like a behema walks around and he smashes through everything, and he has a lot of koyach. So in a way, Chassidus explains that when you're able to take a nefesh Bahamis and change him into a Chassidus nefesh Bahamis, you have a much more energy.
Yeah, more power.
That's more power. It says Rav says in the Apostle, Rav Tfuis b'koyach shoyim. Many.
It's a Beni or a tzaddik to do that.
This is a Baini's work. The tzaddik doesn't have these nefesh Bahamis problems. I mean, there's different levels, right? The Tanya explains there's a tzaddik v'rale, tzaddik v'toivle. There's different levels of how much they have taken over their nefesh Bahamis. Look in Tanya Barichas. This is where. This was. Okay, well, let's keep going. Yeah. Und euch da seine Misaken die Ori Miklot, that in von Ori Miklot is doch Golus, was Golus mechaper. So he says, so therefore, if a person does things by mistake, and we explained how it comes to that, so how do you fix that up? How do you get atonement for it? You have Golus, Ori Miklot. Yeah, you run to the Ori Miklot. You run to the city of refuge. What's the city of refuge help? So the fact that a person is by himself and he's living not with his family, he's away from home. This in itself is very uncomfortable, and this in itself is an atonement.
So we are in Galus for over 2,000 years. Like Ari Miklot.
I think we had enough, no?
I think so.
I think we have enough
We
atonement.
were all in the city of refuge.
I don't know if the city of refuge in Europe. I don't think.
We're away from home. He's saying we're not in Yerushalayim, we're in Kodesh. So it's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah. It's a whole shit for itself. Anyway, so that's so before we go further, let's just make a recap. We've got a bit sidetracked. So Bekitza, a person does Avera b'shoigig. How does he, which is the idea we're going to explain soon also, why an Avera is like killing somebody. That was going to explain a few paragraphs later on. But basically when a person does an Avera, it's as if he killed somebody. He's killing his nefesh l'kis and giving it over to his nefesh Bahamis. And therefore, a person needs to have a kapara, he needs an atonement. What's that atonement? To go into Golus. To go to Ori Miklot. And that atones for his sins. And the point is that Elul is the Ori Miklot. We're going to see soon more in detail. Sif Hey, page 624. Sif Hey on the right side, all the way to the right side of the bottom. Noch Azach is done by Ori Miklot, as Afilo Hari Nefesh b'mezid hafazeh. So here we have a big interesting thing. And that is, we just said that usually the idea of Ori Miklot, a person who runs to the city of refuge, is for someone that did something b'mezid. Now there also is a din that somebody killed b'mezid, b'shoigig, if somebody does by mistake, sorry. But there's also a din that if somebody kills b'mezid, somebody on purpose,
You know what means it? Purpose.
purposely kills, he looks to kill chas v'mi, and he intentionally kills somebody. So the rule is
Murderer.
a murderer, basically a murderer, yeah? If a person's a murderer, he also is allowed, he also has the option, if he has any brains, to run to the city of refuge, and he is safe from the...
Don't give him idea.
Goyal Adam.
He is safe from the Goyal Adam. The Goyal Adam is also, again, not allowed to kill him while he's there. Yes?
No, it was Bedin not taking somebody who did amazing. Bedin will kill him.
He's going to say in a minute, he's going to have a
takes
cool
a
case.
couple of minutes, just, you go in.
Right, so Shoigig stays over there. Yeah, we're going to...
You don't want to go there in the interim.
If there's no witnesses, then yeah, you're right, you won't be able to kill him.
Nobody knows.
Right, so that could be the situation as
It's
well.
not a kapor, it's not a
Right.
kapor.
Yeah.
But they let him go.
It's not above the law. You can't hide him.
Right,
If he's
it's a safe
guilty,
haven
he's
for him.
guilty.
It's a safe haven for him till he gets the court case. Let's see inside. So it says, whether the person killed intentionally or unintentionally, we send them off to the Mikvah. Dorten is there vow zicher for them Geil Adam. Over there, he at least has a bit of refuge from the person that wants to kill him is back. Tanach Eretz is based in Shechem v'Meisam based in. Then what happens is that the based in the courts of law get hold of him. They bring him over back to the courts of law, or mishpatim, and he has a court case. And as v'shofto eidah, so the pasuk says as dan v'tzilo eidah. The pasuk says that when you have a din, most usually it's going to come out. It's very, very hard. According to Jewish law, it's very hard to find somebody. Yeah, you need to aid him, and it has to be intentionally, mamish intentionally. It's very, very complicated that a person should actually be killed for anything.
Warning.
And it says that Rabbi is going to say that if a Beis Din kills more than once in 7 years, and according to some, I think Rabbi doesn't bring it over here, but according to some girsas, some opinions, it's more than once in 70 years. There's a killing done by a Jewish Beis Din. The Beis Din is called killers.
Killer, yeah.
They're called. They're not given a very nice name. So it's a very unusual thing. So the Rebbe is saying that by the person, the murderer, running to this Beis Din, running to Aram Mikvah, he is eventually, possibly, going to get away with what he did for good reason.
The question is, if he did it amazing, and have two witnesses, it's a kapara.
His kapara is
to be killed.
Yes.
So that he can find
It's not supper.
Right.
What would they want to say?
Why would they want to save him?
Yeah, it's an atonement that he should be killed.
You're killing him.
Right. So al pi Torah, the only time an atonement by death, by killing, is an atonement, is when according to the rules of the Torah finds him liable and gets and he'll be killed.
Yeah.
There's another Gemara somewhere else that says that if a person did kill on purpose without any edim, so they can't kill him, Hashem will orchestrate it and he'll get killed. He will. The Eivishter will find a way. Like it says in Pirkei Avos, because like it says in Pirkei Avos about the guy, one of the Tanoim, you saw a skull flowing on the water, and he says, "Why did you get drowned? Because you drowned somebody else." The Eivishter will work it out. Don't worry. Yeah. So, but now the Rebbe is going to say an amazing thing, which is only in our times, which didn't happen in the times of the Beis Hamikdash when they had the corporal punishment. Yeah. To these days, Beis Din don't have these capital punishment. These days, based in the courts of law, Jewish courts of law don't have that power. They're not able to kill anybody. Right? So the Rebbe is going to tell us an amazing thing, and it's based on a tshuva of the Neidim Yehuda. I'm sure you've heard of him. Rabbi Cheskel Landau, one of the most famous and special poskim commentaries and rabbis of the last 400 years. And he's most respected by all Jews all over the world. And what he says almost always is halacha, very, very often. He has many svarim. One of them is called Tzlach, which is on Gemara. Another one is called Neidim Yehuda, which is Chuvas, question and answers. How do you say it's a nice word for in English. Responsa. His responsa backwards and forwards with different rabbanim all over the place, and he was turned to. Many people turned to.
It's
So
like
he's.
Kodesh.
So like the Rebbe's response. So he lived about 400 years ago, before the Baal Shem Tov, or around the time of the Baal Shem Tov, and he is regarded very, very highly among all the
Jews.
All Jews. Yeah. So he says amazing thing. Yeah. So the Rebbe ends off that even someone that did something b'mezid, in the meantime, before he gets killed, before he's going to get saved, he has time to do tshuva in this place of refuge. Now, in that minyan is farana maila in zman hagolos agav zman habayis. In this inyan of this, which we mentioned before, there's a big novelty that is in the time of Golos, not in the time of the Beis Hamikdash. Zman habayis is oif einish heilig nefesh b'shkog mesa reflecting helping kein tshuva m'zaying saivi gavin the meinish. A person, whether he killed by mistake, whether he killed on purpose, he will get a punishment, whether or not he regrets it and he's pulling out his hair from regret and he's doing tshuva. The highest levels of tshuva doesn't make a difference, and he's going to explain why. It says, "Faran an lange tshuva in Neidim Yehuda, was is mevayer dort, if was collected helping kein tshuva if inshe beis shamata." Why is he explains why is it no good to do tshuva when you have to face Beis Din? You're facing Beis Din, they see he has remorse. Why can't they let him off? He killed somebody by mistake. Oh, we killed on purpose. He's crying his eyes out. He's pulling out his hair. Let him off. Why not? So he explains. Tshuva is Tshuva is something that's in our hearts. Real regret is not crying. It might lead to crying. It might show that a person regrets, but what real regret is in the heart. Right? It's not something that's tangible. I can't see it with my two eyes. Right? Crying is not regret. Crying might come from regret. The law is that a Beis Din, a Dayan, a rabbi can only judge based on what his eyes see, because I don't know what's in my friend's heart, right? So I can't decide, I can't make a decision based on what's in my friend's heart, because I don't know. So I have to make a decision based on what I see, based on the Eidim, based on the dry facts. Can the Tshuva the Psak Din Beis Din mentioned? B'meila is menim manish. So what happens is, so a rabbi, Beis Din is sitting, 3 Beis Din, this guy comes before him, he killed on purpose, he's crying his eyes out. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's true or not, doesn't make a difference. I have to go by the dry facts. You get capital punishment. But Bisman HaGolus is different. There is no capital punishment anymore. It's just between me and the Eibishter now. There's no Beis Din that's taking over and doing, checking out what happened. So now, says the Meir Yehuda, a very good thing, that Bisman HaGolus, there's this great novelty that I can do tshuva and the tshuva will help. Because when it's dependent on human beings down here to judge and finalize what the psak is, what his crime is, so then it's only based on what they see. They don't know what's going on in a person's heart. But once that's taken away, which is now during this time of Golus, where there's no Beis Din anymore, because we don't have a Beis Hamikdash, whatever it is, whatever the reasons are, we don't have capital punishment. So who decides what's going to happen? The Eibishter himself. So the Eibishter knows what's going on in your heart, and the Eibishter can see whether
the judgment.
It's fine.
The Gemara speaks about.
Sorry?
Besdin Shalmalak can't decide things.
No, Besdin Shalmalak is for after death, not before.
It's funny, in Israel jails, a lot of people who are there, they become Baalei Tshuva in jail. Like for them, it's a Harem Miklat and make tshuva. You see them coming back with the kippah, with zakan.
Yeah, because they have all this time. They
have time to learn.
They have nothing to do.
They have time to think about
So they have a special rabbi go there.
Just by talking about jail, in Torah there's no punishment of jail.
That's another thing.
Harem Miklat is not jail.
No, really.
Sort of.
Not really.
You go in, you can't get out, you get killed.
No, basically.
You wait for the Kohen Gadol to
It's the closest thing to jail at Torah has.
Go for 2 years, go for 10 years. He's not jail at that.
He's not jail sitting and doing nothing over there. He has to continue living a normal life. He just has to be away from his home.
Right.
A jail sitting in solitary confinement, there's no such thing in Torah except for maybe waiting for while a person's waiting to find out what's going to be with him. But there's no punishment of the whole punishment like you have today, just sitting in a jail.
But Harem Miklat, they have shul, they have everything, right?
His family, I think so.
They come
Yes.
live in it, right?
Family, I think so.
Yeah.
No, only
the Gemara
the
says
rabbi, they have student, and then the student comes to listen to
The family, not.
They don't allow the
on
wife and the
purpose.
children.
The purpose is
Not
that
sure.
he will be by himself.
But they have guard, right?
He shouldn't be.
So that's-
Nobody can go in.
Yeah.
They have to
Only
be
if
guarded in
a
Harem Miklat.
Rebbe was.
And it's closed.
Surely
No.
not.
He's bringing
City.
student
Would
over.
allow his
Surrounded
wife.
by a wall, probably.
They have
No, I
more.
don't think it has to have. No. It has parameters. I don't think it
So
has
Goel
to.
Adam can go in.
He could, but he's not allowed to kill over there.
He can't do it. He don't know.
He
If
might.
he's very jealousy, he will go and do
He
it.
might do it, but he's going to get killed now. He's doing
He's never
a
going
His
down.
wife will be
My
married.
understanding is that once the Kohen Gadol passes away,
Yeah.
but
That's if it was by mistake. If he's
the Dam, but the Goel Dam,
will not
Can
be
he-
allowed. No, he won't be allowed to kill him then.
oh, he will not.
No, he won't be allowed. Once the Kohen Gadol passes, if he goes into our mikvah for 2 minutes and the Kohen Gadol happens to pass away, he's good to go.
This way the mother, she's davening always, oh, Hashem, take off this Kohen
And she
Gadol.
brought
This
all
way he can
this
get out.
food here, and they prayed.
So that is a most wondrous novelty. That in Bisman HaGolus, it's very strange. It's very wondrous that Bisman HaGolus, we have this novelty that we're able to do tshuva and get away with the most dire sins that we may have done because we're in Golus more than when we're not in Golus. It's a very interesting.
It's a crazy question, but in the Mir Miklat itself, the person killed by accident again.
I think the Rambam talks about it. I don't remember.
Does he have to run to another Miklat, or the guy can kill him over?
That's part of
Kill him over
it.
there?
I can't remember what the halacha is, but I think the Rambam talks about it. Yeah. The Gemara talks about such a case. So the Gemara talks about. I don't remember what the din is.
Because he can kill 6 times because there's 6 Aramic law.
I can do more than 6 to keep going.
If you go on the other side of Jordan, it's more.
22. Give you a chance to kill another.
Right. Okay.
Anyway.
How about if they're in the war? If they're in the war, different circumstances prevail.
It's different.
Where
If
people
you kill
have to
someone
get
in the
killed.
war.
So does that pertain to them at all?
I'm not sure what the question is.
Person goes to war, they're killing, he's fighting, he's killing. They call it
Friendly fire?
friendly fire. Friendly fire.
You kill one of his own.
Accident, an accident. They
It's
kill their
happened a
own
lot.
by accident.
That would also be a shaygig also. I mean,
By accident.
maybe the Goyal Hadam won't be so vengeance, but he still has to go to Mikla, I think.
Last week in the army, in Israeli army, another one right there.
Happens all the
That's
time.
almost the same thing.
Yeah, it happens all the time. It's very sad.
I saw in my eyes one time somebody get killed from
You in the
regular
army?
soldier.
It's
A lot of
terrible,
this
right?
now, yeah.
It's war.
And when they're teaching you when you have the gun, never ever point it, you have to point it up. So a guy next to me, if you're teaching us, and he's going to the commander, to the officer, and it didn't work. And he killed him right there.
Oh, yeah.
There was a bullet there, yeah.
Wow.
The guy thinks to their problem and throw him.
Wow. You were there, you saw it?
So next to my eyes.
Oh my God.
I got thrown myself this year.
The commander.
Huh?
The commander was killed.
Yeah, the officer. It wasn't a higher one, but still, you know.
That's
And they teach you first thing, never ever, you have a problem, it's called ma'atzor, you have a problem
Yeah,
with it.
it's tough.
Never, you know, come to me, look, I cannot move like that. But don't, the guy, you know, they didn't judge him, they didn't put him in jail or nothing, because he got crazy all his life.
Yeah?
Right.
So he didn't stay in the
They
army.
got him out from the army, but they didn't,
Massacre.
no, not at all. It's a matter of fact, we went to visit him.
Big Rahmanas, yeah. Anyway, so
His name is David, I'm sorry, not you, but his name was David.
So basically, in Golos, it's the Eibishter, it's the one that makes the decisions, and therefore a person is able to do tshuva like the Alter, like it brings the Maimon Chazal. Adam Aveirov, and it's Chayim Misa, a person that does an Aveirov, and he's now Chayim Misa, the Mokim. Ma'yasa, what should he do? The Yichya, and what should he do to be able to live? Im Hoyirogalik is Dafechad. If he was used to reading or learning just one page, Yikra Beis Tafim Chul, he should start to learn 2 pages, which basically means doing tshuva. So this basically we just explained a long explanation of what's the Indian of Ari Miklot. It's a refuge, person runs away, if he did a mazid, and over there, what's going to happen, etc., etc., and how this man hazeh, a person can do tshuva even on something terrible as killing, whatever everyone does, a person can do tshuva with man hazeh. So now we're going to bring this all back now to Elul, which we said before, that Elul is the Rashi Tevis of Ina liyodei v'samti l'cha, that the the person did a mistake, which means basically the person did a mistake, and I'm giving you a city of refuge, which the Rebbe is going to say, that's the Chodesh Elul. Chodesh Elul now, we're going to explain, is this refuge that we need every year. Elul is Rashi Tevis from Elul is an Ir Miklot if the Meisim for the Gansio. Elul is a city of refuge from all the different things that we did throughout the year. That's made. This means to say that in Chodesh Elul, which we're starting on Tuesday night, that's why it's good learning this before, to be prepared.
Monday night.
Monday night is still off.
Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Right, so but Tuesday night is going to be the beginning of Aleph.
Up to the month of them.
Yeah.
What time?
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Lamed.
Yeah, Lamed and
Monday
Aleph.
night we're going to share, tomorrow night we're going to see Yale Weber by myself.
Is there better cake on Shviddish? No, I should have come tomorrow.
Tomorrow night I'm not here.
Like, as a kid in school, you always get a Rish Chodesh treat.
Usually sometimes it's food over here. You eat food, no food.
No, it's fine.
Tomorrow night.
Das meint, the Chodesh Elul darf man machen nach Hebron, was hat getan the ganze Jahr. What does it mean that Elul? What does it practically mean that Elul is a city of refuge for the whole year, the things I did the whole year? That in Elul is a time to make a reckoning. to make it think back, but my sim like Toiv Chas Hashem, all the different things that I shouldn't have done. Warum? Oiv Chas Hashem, Chet Pogum Ba'aver Saderech Derech Havai is mit Yed Aveda is a Ritzeach Nefesh. Shoiv Dam Odom Bodom. So the Rebbe explains now why when a person does an Aveda Chas Hashem, he is killing, like the whole example of what of the city of refuge, how it is in the simple terminology in Torah. So over here, when we're talking about it in the spiritual sense, what does it mean? Why is an Avera killing somebody? Because he explains, as Shoifich Dama Odom, he is spilling the blood of the Odom Tikdusha, of the holy person. He takes this holiness, the koyach, and the energy that a person has from his nefesh l'kis, and he pulls, when a person does an aveda, he pulls his nefesh l'kis also into an aveda.
He's causing great distress to the godly soul.
Yeah. So it's as if you are spilling as if you're sort of killing him and spilling his blood. Wow. I mean, the Rebbe is just, we could manage without sort of this explanation, but the Rebbe is showing exactly how in the physical and the spiritual sense of what we're discussing, everything is fitting. Right? We're talking about already miklot in the physical sense, and in the spiritual sense, it's a place of where a person has time to do tshuva. And so too, the spiritual effect of a physical effect of somebody killing is the same as someone that does an aveda. We have it's sort of a mashal and an nimshal.
Spiritual blood.
Right. Everything is exact. The Rebbe is explaining how the mashal and the nimshal all fit together. A person killing physically and spiritually have a similarity. A person running to his place of refuge is similar in physical and spiritual.
Try and kill Hevel. He didn't have a miklat. Hashem came to him, says, "Demei achecha zorakim min adama." He didn't have a miklat. If he had, maybe he will go. And then Hashem made him big sign here. Wherever you go, people will know that you killed your brother.
Yeah, it's a whole different story. Yeah. Okay, so in Chodesh Elul, we're holding on the last paragraph on.
Would have enough space.
On 625 on the right side. In Chodesh Elul is already mikvah. So what does it mean? A person has to go into golus. A person has to go into exile in the month of Elul. Exile yourself to the month of Elul. To go away from a person's being and his the Rebbe can explain like it says by Avraham Avinu that he left his artzecha, his land, Meladecha, and his birthplace, Misavicha, and Chassidus explains refers to artzecha, but refers to your from the word rotzi. Artzecha from the word rotzim, which means your wants, the things that I want this and I want that, and my desires and my pleasures. Miladecha from your Miladecha, it refers to the midas, a person's love and fear, and all different kinds of feelings that a person has. It's cool. I don't want to explain everything, but the point is that to go away from your thoughts and what you understand, to go away from your feelings, meaning that you care about, which are obviously not godly, to go away from these things, to separate yourself from them. Von sein Arzenes, Gelusin, von sein Maskon, von sein Seichel, Tamadas, when it's vet sein, even not Shama, Shomte Dirosa, you should run away from your negative aspects that a person may have, and run away to the city of refuge, to the month of Elul. Beit Avicha refers to Chachma. Yeah. Yeah. It refers to your mind. It refers to your how do you say, your decisions that you have made and your ideas that you came up with. A person comes up with all different ideas. It's very possible a person come up with an idea that's not based on the Torah, right? Right. So as Chabad, you have different parts of you have the Chabad, you have your brain, and then you have your midot, your feelings. You have to get away from all these things that are not based on Torah.
The month of Elul is a very high spiritual month.
Yes.
So every individual is elevated, I believe, in the month of Elul.
Of course.
So they're now more aware of their averas and of the mitzvahs. And I believe Hashem throws it in their face to make the choice. Not where you can hang out before Elul and after Shmini Atzeret. That level of Kedusha doesn't exist.
Absolutely not. There's a whole Maimah, which actually in the first Sikha, which we didn't learn today, how the Rebbe, based on what the Alter Rebbe says in Kutei Torah, he explains that the month of Elul is in the spiritual, things that are happening, is just like Yom Tov. just like the days of Yom Tov, which is a very holy time, right? That's why we can't work. And the days of Elul are just the same. But it's in not a Yom Tov. There's a whole explanation. I can't discuss everything in one foot. But the days of Elul are very, very holy, yes.
Right.
And they have more awareness of Hashem in the world, and that's why it's easier, it's a better time, which we're explaining over here, it's a time that a person could do tshuva.
We should learn from Yeshua's and not from Yisur.
Sorry?
We should learn from Yeshua's and not from Yisur.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly. So the time of Elul, and if you look, there's different ways that people take Elul. But in Chassidus it explains that the time of Elul is Ani l'doyri doyli, I am to my beloved, my beloved is to me. Whereas the time of Elul is a time of great revelation of godliness and love of every fellow Jew, and that's the main underlying reason that why a person is the right time to do tshuva. Because the Eibusher explains the famous how he's in the Sodeh, and it's a time that everybody can reach out to the Eibusher. So it's important to realize this when we're discussing what we're discussing over here, where that Chodesh Elul is a city of refuge. It's for very good reason. It's not just another month of the year which happens to have in Elul is Rosh Tevish this and Rosh Tevish that. It's spiritually is a whole different level. And therefore we have, as everybody in their personal Avodah, has a whole different level of koiches and capabilities which is able to do tshuva and rectify any wrongdoing. It's a different kind of day. It's not a normal Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a very special time, and it's a time at this time of the year. It's a time where a person davens longer and has more connection to Hashem because it's more revelation. There's more. It's happening.
Parashat Re'eh was last week, right? Why is Re'eh always come before Elul? Re'eh Elul Yigia. Re'eh Elul Yigia.
The Sunday say it's all month and this Friday, every day.
Sephardim say the whole month.
Yeah. Starting from
we add 3 to Hillel, don't we?
Sorry?
We add 3 extra to Hillel.
Yes.
So you have a big
Chabad
job.
many gets to do more time. Yes.
That's a big undertaking.
We blow the shofar. Elul is a.
For Achenu Ashkenazim, we have to pray. We have to pray the whole month.
There's 2 explanations why Chabad don't do it. Either we do everything in 7 days, what you do in a month. We do it all in 7 days. Or we just don't have what to say sluchas for.
Alevai.
That's part of them.
Somebody asked me, how come Sfaradim said the whole month? And we said only 1 week. So I said, because Sfaradim, you are our brother, and we feel for you. So we have to say for you too.
See, we, the Ashkenazim, are busy doing business. We don't have time. So the Sfaradim do it for us.
Zvulun, huh?
The lady says that we say by Yosef, Shir al Hashem.
That's also about Elul, yeah.
When it's Shir al Hashem, when you are in happiness time, it says Elul, Shir al Hashem, everyone will
Yeah.
When you're in happiness time, everything will go. That's very shallow. You have to be happy in Elul, not sad, not scary.
Yeah. Some people comes Elul and
Ashira Lashem, Aleph Lamed, Vayimra Lamer, Vav Lamed. Okay.
Yeah. If you look in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, it has over there a bunch of the, you look in Chassidus and Sichos also, but Kitzur Shulchan Aruch brings down a lot of the Rashi Tevot.
See, by the Sfaradim Slichot, we have a lot of songs.
It's not a song, it's all the same tune.
Huh? It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful songs. Not the songs, it's...
You know Rabbi Sabach from Australia?
Who?
Sabach from Australia?
I heard the name, but I don't know.
My friend's father, he's a rabbi of Sephardi Kehillah. So I got to see a little bit of the...
Probably he's a good Jew.
Sorry?
Probably he's a good Jew.
Very good. Big time. Okay, let's get going. I think we're going to have a might if... we should keep going. We're going to finish? Or
5 minutes. How long do you have? 5 minutes? Yeah, you can do it.
Go for it.
We're getting to Elul, we have to add up in the Torah.
So we can always add. Chodesh Elul, we can add more time. Yeah, so if a person comes to Chodesh Elul and he makes a decision that he's going to go into Golus, he's going to go into this exile, sort of, going away from all his desires and wants and ideas, and he's going to go there and he's going to make a cheshbon nefesh, and he's going to think through the negative things which I did past year, and also the good things also. A person can think about the good things that he did, and make a cheshbon nefesh, make a reckoning, and a real one, of what he did in the past, and then this golus, what he gives himself, is going to atone for him.
See, he's going to bring judgment on himself.
It's not judgment. It's not judgment.
No, he's bringing a state of judgment. That
he's going to judge himself.
Yes, so that it will stop any judgment from above.
Exactly. Very good. Yes.
That's a good point.
That's good. Well worded. Yes. We can take, if we wait for Hashem to do it, it might not be so good. If we take the opportunity, in Chodesh Elul, and we throw ourselves in to the Avodah of Elul and get away from all of our needs and our desires, and obviously again not in a way of fasting and causing pains to oneself, but to give up on those extra things that we don't need and throw ourselves into what's in the important things in life, that will atone for us.
I think the word is accountability more than a judgment. Your accountability for your own
right.
His name is Pinchas, Kishmo Kenu.
Yeah.
You can't judge yourself. A person loves himself. He's not going to judge himself.
Judge yourself, then you can
you have to be accountable.
You take inventory.
But it's there.
Take inventory.
So like we said before, not only will the month of Elul take care, like the Ori Mikla, of something that somebody did by mistake, for Shoygig, it's going to take care also of things that we did amazing. Wow. Even if Chas V'Shalom, a person did Averis throughout the year, and it was on purpose, when it comes Chodesh Elul, he can wipe away even the things that did amazing. Just like we said about the literal sense of Ori Miklot, even if a person kills on purpose, we take it to Ori Miklot, and he'll be saved through Tshuva.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So the Rebbe says it could be that a person won't come to the highest levels of tshuva, which are going to wipe away his sins totally. So the Rebbe goes through all different kinds of, he's going to do it very quickly, all different kinds of calculations a person might, what brings a person to do tshuva. Could be he does it because he's scared of Hashem, he's scared of the days of, he's scared that he might not have parnasa for the next year. Whatever it is that brings him to connect himself back to Hashem, this is still going to help him. Yeah, exactly. Whatever it is that gets you on the right path, even though it might not be for the best reasons, obviously it's better to do it because out of remorse, etc., etc. But even if it doesn't come from that, it's nevertheless still, it's going to at least make, like it explains in the Gemara in Halacha, that when a person does the lower level of tshuva, it makes his zedonis, his purposely done sins, they become into as if they were shoygig, if they were done by mistake. The higher level of tshuva makes even the ones that you did on purpose come into zochies, not even absent. They become like mitzvahs, which is a whole subject for itself. Sivches. Man meint aber nicht der Meinung von sich auf mit eines Punkt, dass sagen wir noch entwickelt ist nicht die Gewohnheit, dass darf sich materin, die von meinen ist Galus. So the Rebbe is going to explain now that like we said before, we don't mean that a person has to cause himself pain, physical pain, spiritual pain maybe, meaning he should be upset and remorse about what he did. But there's no need for tinus and for fasting. Just like the Rebbe says, just like in our miklah. What happened in our miklah? The guy went over there and the Gemara says he has to live a normal life. And as we mentioned before, somebody mentioned before that even if a person has a Rebbe that he learns by, the Rebbe has to come and follow him into goals. Which the idea is the Rebbe is saying that a person has to live a normal life. And you have to live life like a mensch, not to cause yourself pain and physical pain. But it has to be, in order for it to work, a person has to feel that he is in goals. He has to feel that he is in an exile. He has to get, meaning he's exiling himself from his normal way of life, or his negative way of life, which was going on throughout the year. To get away from our normal day-to-day life. To live an Elul life. Less time listening to the radio, less time watching this, less time the news, less time Trump. There's a lot of stuff going on today. It's kind of hard, but this is if you want a Chodesh Elul. I'm talking very practical. To get away from these things, you wake up in the morning. The first thing, what did Mr. Trump say today? It's very nice, but that's not Chodesh Elul. That's our normal day-to-day life, which we need to get away from. To go into exile myself, right? Not exile of Chas V'Shalom Golus, which we're in anyway, but to exile ourselves from our negative or not needed things of our life. And this will help us. Almost finished. Zivtes. Ich das, was es wird sein, wenn schon in Chodesh Elul rein in Eldiken Seder, das wird im Ratven von dem Geil Adam, der Satan auf jetzt Hora, was hu, Hamesis auf Sinnekin, hu am Katrik, hu am Alchamavis, der Geil Adam, was will sich abrechnen mit den Menschen. So it comes this time of the year, right? It comes a time of the year where a person has to have Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is a time where there's going to be a court case, right? The books of life, the books of death are open, and there's a court case, and the Satan which is he's the one that makes you sin, and he's the one that's going to get you to get judged. Right? He makes us sin, and then he goes and says, hey, this guy sinned. That's how it works. He's a really bad guy. Anyway, so in order to get saved from him, what do? He's the Goyal Adam. He's the one that he wants to kill us. So how do? We run away into Chodesh Elul. Meaning, if a person doesn't do the Chodesh of Elul, it's as if it's like a person didn't run into the Arei Mikvah. What's the din then? The guy can kill him.
Can kill him, yeah.
Right?
So he can't come in.
So he, sorry?
He can't come in.
No, but just imagine if someone didn't run into it. So he's still going to get judged. He still has a guy running after him. So that's what we're saying also in the spiritual sense. If a person does not run into the Arei Mikvah of Chodesh Elul, he is in big trouble. Because the Satan, which is the Goyal Hadam, is coming after him. If he runs into Chodesh Elul, then the Satan can't come in. But if he doesn't run into Elul, which he doesn't run into Arei Mikvah, he's in big trouble. So if a person wants to save himself from a negative judgment, right, it's a good idea to get into Chodesh Elul. Get into the Arei Mikvah. Run away to the city of refuge. The Satan is that Goyal Adam was tiny. Pliny is given a hurting nefesh. He comes and he says, guys, this guy is a bad guy. He killed his nefesh lekis, like we explained earlier. That when you do it avera, it's like as if you killing a nefesh lekis. Is it eitzay dem v'hilechem ha'arim in the mikol megel yemos tzech adam lefnei edo und ei ba'filu ezayne given in yonah was hat getan mezid is bizde mishum mit mishum mit vademern und eich derfun von the derfun. Like I said, that basically when a person runs into the Chodesh of Elul and he runs into the city of refuge, he will be saved. Even if he did something b'mezid, will he be saved from it? So now, the last paragraph of Sif Yud, the Rabbi, if you see, it's in a whole different, it's a different font. And that is because the Rebbe said it very, very strongly, and this is sort of a sum up of everything that we learned. So let's do this inside if everybody follows Sif Yud. And this is what the Rebbe said at the beginning of the Sikha, that he wants us to be mefarsim and spread around this inyan, which every one of us has the responsibility to do so. God says to every single one of us, Ich give euch 29 Tage, I give you 29, 30 days. Was ein Meshach von die Tag ist als wird sich abreißen von die nicht gute Regelusen, van Hogges von bis it's there. If a person takes these days and he throws himself into the Chodesh of Elul and he cuts himself off from his usual ways of life and the way he behaves, he gets angry quickly, he doesn't not nice to this one, he's fighting with that one, whatever it is, and and he runs away, like it says in the passage, he runs to this city of refuge. In the Elul Seder and Haga so basetzen sich dort, and he runs away and he wants to be in a Seder, in the way of life of Elul Seder, and he makes himself comfortable over there and he sits down over there, like we said, like a person already Miklot lives there and he gets comfortable over there. Is demo better to kennen verrichten als was gewen besitzt nicht wie es darf zu sein, and then he will be able to fix up everything that he did till now, which was not supposed to be, which he shouldn't have done. Und bemele wird das sein the Miklot mit Adam von alle Kitrugim, and bemele he will be saved from any negative judgment, which if he doesn't do this he will have. So a person that wants to get away from it, take this opportunity and run into it. And how do you do this? This is through tshuva, fear tshuva. Yira, first he starts on the lower level of tshuva, which comes through fear. Was nasalik shkogius, which we said, then his sins will become into his purposely done sins will become as if he did it by mistake. Or in the noch tshuva me'ava was nasalik zochis, and then he does a level of tshuva which is through love of Hashem, which is be'ikar the inyan of anila deidi. And then his sins will not only will be wiped away, but they will be considered as if he did a mitzvah, which is the most amazing thing. He will be written. Also not just written, but also sealed. In the book of Tzaddikim, of righteous people, for a good and sweet new year. Amen.